Well, as you heard a little while ago, EFF leader Julius Malema has briefed the press club in Cape Town, the Western Cape. This follows his and the EFF Mps walkout of the National Assembly before President Ramaphosa could address the House last night. I want to get the very latest now from there and bring in political reporter Samkele Maseko. Samkele, a very good morning to you. What were some of the biggest takeaways from Mr. Malema's address to the press club there?
One of the biggest takeaways is Julius Malema basically pledging and saying that and dares other members of parliament, and including the executive and President Ramaphosa, to say that in the past 15 years, none of them or any of the politicians or members of parliament has ever laid a hand on their children and been involved in domestic violence in the form of abuse against their spouses or girlfriends. Julius Malema says he's daring the members of parliament to do this and declare that they've never done this, and also going to say that they also welcome the introduction of the Sovereign Wealth Fund, saying that this is an EFF policy, and it's rather amusing that the government of the day and the governing party is now speeding ahead with this program that was being introduced particularly by the EFF Deputy President Floyd Shivambu in the 5th administration under former President Jacob Zuma. It also remember that was part of the president's speech last night, saying that they'll be introducing a sovereign wealth fund and that they'll be starting a new state bank. You remember those tweets in 2018 by the minister, in 2017 rather, going into 2018, by the Minister of Finance Tito Mboweni at the time, speaking about the sovereign wealth fund, speaking about the formation of a state bank, and he's been taken to task on where and when is he implementing these particular issues, which he said they should not be too hard to set up. Julius Malema saying that they take note and they are pleased that this is taking place, and also welcoming the new university that will be built in Ekurhuleni, in one of the metro municipalities in Gauteng. Julius Malema saying they are welcoming this, but they could have just expanded the Wits University and have other campuses being built in Mahikeng in the northwest, or having another campus being built of Wits University in Ekurhuleni. It's rather amusing that he would pick on Wits University because he himself was enrolled for an honors degree at that particular university. So these are some of the points that came out in this particular address by the EFF leader Julius Malema, and also speaking that it is the ANC that decided to defend the last apartheid president and former deputy president of this country under the unity government led by Tata Nelson Mandela post the 1994 election, saying that it's ANC MPs who decided to defend F.W. de Klerk, and that they will expose the hypocrisy of this particular racist whom they perceive to be F.W. de Klerk. You remember that Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi yesterday questioned on why the EFF was raising this particular issue, because F.W. de Klerk, the last apartheid president and former deputy president of this country, did attend about 6 State of the Nation addresses that the EFF has been part of in the 5th administration of former President Jacob Zuma and in this 6th administration of President Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa.
Yeah, Mr. Malema started off yesterday saying, "Honorable Speaker, we have a murderer in the House," and I guess that just set the tone for the rest of the night in Parliament. Many South Africans witnessed what happened there last night, Samkele. What sort of reaction are you getting with regards to calls for the House rules to be amended to prevent further disruptions? Mr. Malema yesterday standing up and saying, you can't call this a disruption because we're going through the Speaker, and then the Speaker of the National Assembly saying, well, this is a disruption.
The EFF is not particularly dwelling much on that particular issue of yesterday's points of orders. They were persistent in asking in which rule are the presiding officers, the chairperson of the NCOP, Dr. Amos Masondo, and the Speaker of the National Assembly, Thandi Modise, are using to say that the Red Berets were disrupting that particular sitting of the joint houses, saying that you must tell us which rule you are using to say that you are disrupting, and to saying that you are using frivolous motions parties to delay the State of the Nation address. That could not come out. You remember that the Speaker opted to suspend the sitting for about 5-10 minutes and then came back and ordered that the EFF leave the chambers, and the EFF voluntarily left the chambers without any bouncers or any police officers coming to remove them from the chambers. But the issue of rules and regulations are no longer being raised by the EFF leader, particularly within this address here this morning.
The speech by President Ramaphosa, the State of the Nation address, was billed by at least one political analyst as a make or break by the president. I want to very briefly get your sense on the ground from what you've been hearing in terms of the tone set by the president.
Well, speaking to various political parties after the State of the Nation address, they were saying that it's a very pragmatic State of the Nation address. The president was on point. It was a very economically based State of the Nation address, which also addressed the issues of socio-economic conditions that are currently ravaging the people on the ground of poverty, inequality, unemployment and underdevelopment, coupled with corruption, saying that the president was on the pulse last night on the societal issues facing the 54 million South Africans whom are at him. This particular administration is serving. So there was a lot of pleasure of this particular State of the Nation address. A lot of political parties were happy at the direction the government is taking. But obviously the economic freedom fighters are not pleased. They've taken some of the extracts of the president's speech and saying that they welcome them, such as the university, the sovereign wealth fund, the formation of a new state bank, but also raising issues of the crumbling state-owned enterprises, speaking on issues of how the Minister of Public Enterprises, Pravin Gordhan, must be fired as well, and him holding the president at ransom, and also speaking about their old term, white monopoly capital, and the private sector holding the government at ransom and not coming to the party.
Samkele, sorry man, we gotta go. Thank you very much indeed for that summation as well. Samkele Maseko live for us at the press club. Just wrapping up, we have to go now.